Commander Yoon Tae-ho stood at the window of Earth's orbital defense station. He watched the stars and thought about the meeting that would happen in 2 hours. The Galactic Council had called all human leaders to an emergency session. Yoon did. Not like emergency sessions. They usually meant bad news for humans. Dr. Park So-min walked into the room holding a data pad. Her face looked worried. She had been Earth's main scientist working with alien races for 10 years. She knew how they thought and how they talked. When Park looked worried, Yoon paid attention. The preliminary reports came in. Park said. She sat down at the metal table in the center of the room. The council representatives have been meeting for 3 days without us. That never happens unless they plan something big. Yoon turned away from the window. He was a tall man with gray hair and scars on his hands from old battles. He had fought in the border wars before humans met the aliens. Back then, the biggest worry was other humans with better weapons. Now humans had to worry about 12 different alien races who saw them as useful pets. What kind of something big? Yoon asked. Park touched her data pad and numbers appeared in the air above the table. Population redistribution. They want to move 2 billion people from Earth to the outer colonies. Mining work mostly. Hard labor on planets where the air tries to kill you. Yoon sat down across from her. 2 billion people was almost a quarter of Earth's population. The outer colonies were death traps. Everyone knew it. The aliens called them challenging work environments. But humans who went there usually died, within 5 years. The ones who lived longer wished they had died sooner. They can't force that many people to leave, Yoon said. Park gave him a look that said he was being naive. When has the council ever asked for our permission? They tell us what to do and we do it, that's how it works. Captain Lee Junwoo's voice came through the communication system. Commander, Ambassador Han is requesting immediate transport to the station. She says the council session moved up by 4 hours. Yoon pressed a button on the table. Approved. Fast transport. And get me a secure line to all fleet commanders. Yes, sir. Park stood up and walked to the window. Earth looked beautiful from this distance. Blue and white and green, like a jewel, floating in space. It was hard to believe that 12 alien races saw it as a breeding ground for workers. There's something else, Park said without turning around. I've been monitoring alien communications. They're moving military ships near our colonies. Big ships. The kind they use for orbital bombardment. Yoon felt ice in his stomach. Orbital bombardment was what aliens used to destroy cities from space. They had rules about it. Supposedly. But rules were different for each species depending on how important the council thought they were. Ambassador Han Mi-young arrived 30 minutes later. She looked like she had not slept in days. Her diplomatic uniform was wrinkled and she carried herself like someone who had been carrying bad news for too long. It's worse than we thought, Han said before anyone could ask. She sat down heavily and rubbed her temples. Directive 847, Population Management. They're not just moving people to work colonies. They're planning something called efficiency optimization. What does that mean? Yoon asked. Han looked at him with tired eyes. It means they think there are too many humans. The Vorthak delegate told me directly that livestock shouldn't breed faster than farmers can manage them. The room went quiet. Livestock. That was what the aliens called humans when they thought humans weren't listening. Sometimes they said it when humans were listening just to remind them of their place. Park turned from the window. How long do we have? 30 standard days to begin compliance, and Han said, if we refuse, they implement corrective action. Everyone knew what corrective action meant. The aliens had used it on 3 other species. Those species didn't exist anymore. Yoon's communication device beeped. Captain Lee's voice came through with urgency. Commander, we're getting distress signals from New Busan colony. Multiple ships approaching. Alien configuration. Put it on screen, Yoon said. The wall screen showed space around New Busan. 3. Large alien vessels moved toward the human colony. The ships had the markings of the Thylorian fleet. They were supposed to be on training exercises in that sector. New Busan Control, this is Thylorian Battle Group 7, came a voice through the speakers. We are conducting combat readiness exercises. Clear the area immediately. The human voice from New Busan sounded confused. Thylorian vessels, we have 40,000 civilians here. We need time to evacuate. Training exercises begin in 10 minutes. Clear the area. Park grabbed Yoon's arm. They can't do training exercises that close to a civilian colony. It's against council law. Yoon watched the screen. The Thylorian ships moved closer. Their weapons were powering up. Get me a direct line to the Thylorian commander. Channel open, Lee said. Thylorian vessels, this is Commander Yoon of Earth Defense. You are too close to civilian populations. Move your exercises to a safe distance. The reply came back immediately. Human, Commander. Your authority is not recognized in this sector. Continue your duties elsewhere. On screen, the first energy beams began to fire. They were aimed at empty space, but they were close enough to New Busan that the colony's shields activated. The next volley hit the shields directly. Accidental. Weapons malfunction, came the Thylorian voice. Continue exercises. Yoon watched as the human colony died. 40,000 people. Gone in 20 minutes. The official report would say it was a training accident. Everyone would know better, but no one would say anything. 2 days later, Terra Nova died the same way. Another training accident. 60,000 people. 3 days after that, Harmony Station. A mining platform with 15,000 workers. Equipment malfunction. Ambassador Han stood in the council chambers and demanded answers. The alien delegates listened politely. Then the Vorthak speaker stood up. Livestock does not negotiate with farmers, he said. These unfortunate accidents remind us why proper population management is necessary. Humans expand too quickly into dangerous areas. We will help you manage this problem. The council voted. 12 votes for Directive 847. 0 votes against. Earth had no vote. Han returned to the defense station with official papers. Population management protocol would begin in 25 days. 2 billion humans would be relocated. The rest would be optimized. Yoon read the documents in his private office. Park and Han sat across from his desk. Outside the window, Earth continued to turn, beautiful and blue and completely helpless. They're going to kill us, Han said, quietly. Not all of us, Park replied. They need some humans for specialized work, maybe 10% of the population. Yoon put down the papers. What they don't know, he said slowly, is that humans have been preparing for this day since we first met them. Han and Park looked at him with surprise. We knew this would happen eventually, Yoon continued. We've been planning, building, learning. They think we're livestock. He smiled for the first time in days. They're about to learn what kind of livestock Earth produces. The countdown began. 25 days until humanity showed the galaxy what happened when you tried to manage Earth's children. Admiral Kim Dong-wook had been dead for 3 years. At least that's what every official record in the galaxy said. The aliens had killed him during a riot suppression on Mars colony. They had even held a funeral. Humans mourned. Aliens felt satisfied that another troublesome human leader was gone. Kim stood in a room that didn't exist on any blueprint. It was built inside an asteroid that moved through space like any other rock. But this rock was hollow and filled with the most dangerous humans in the galaxy. Titan base report, Kim said to the woman standing at the control station. Engineer Choi Hee-jin turned from her screens. She was young, maybe 30, but her eyes looked much older. She had been reverse engineering alien technology since she was 20. Most of what she learned made her angry. All Ghost Protocol assets are ready, Choi said. We have 47 ships that the aliens don't know exist. Each one is equipped with null space drives. Kim nodded. Null space was the area between dimensions. Humans had discovered they could survive there when other species could not. It was like being able to breathe underwater while everyone else drowned. The aliens had no idea humans had this ability. Weapon status? Kim asked. That's the interesting part, Choi said with a small smile. We've been studying alien biology for 50 years. Every species has weaknesses. The Thylorians are afraid. of high-frequency sounds because they remind them of their natural predators. The Vorthak have nervous systems that shut down when exposed to specific light patterns. She touched her control panel and images appeared in the air. Alien anatomy diagrams covered in red marks showing vulnerable points. We've weaponized fear, Joy continued. Not just physical weapons, psychological ones. We can make their warriors into scared children. Kim walked to another screen that showed star maps. Red dots marked alien military positions. Blue dots marked human settlements. There were many more red dots than blue ones. What about our inside assets? Kim asked. Agent Beck is in position, came a voice from the speakers. Agent Beck, Sujin, had been working in the Galactic Council's intelligence division for 15 years. The aliens thought she was a brilliant analyst. They trusted her to read their secret reports and make strategic recommendations. They had no idea she was feeding all their secrets back to Earth. Bayek, give me the current situation, Kim said. The Council believes they have complete control, Beck's voice replied. They think humans are too primitive to fight back effectively. Their military is positioned for easy suppression of scattered resistance. They expect humans to run and hide like frightened animals. Kim smiled. It was not a nice smile. Perfect. Let them keep thinking that. Back on Earth's defense station, Commander Yoon was having a meeting with people who were officially not there. Dr. Park sat at the table reviewing biological data. Captain Lee stood at attention near the wall. Both of them had just learned about Titan Project. How long have you been planning this? Park asked. Since first contact, Yoon replied. We knew that any species advanced enough for space travel would see us as either equals or resources. When they chose to see us as resources, we started preparing. Lee stepped forward. Sir, what are my orders? Yoon handed him a data chip. You're going to take the stealth frigate on reconnaissance missions. We need detailed scans of every alien military installation within 50 light years, defensive positions, weapon capabilities, personnel numbers. And if I'm detected, you won't be. The null space drive makes our ships invisible to their sensors. You'll be a ghost. Park looked up from her data. Commander, I need to show you something. She activated a holographic display above the table. It showed brain patterns from different alien species. I've been studying alien psychology for years, Park said. Each species has specific neural patterns that control fear responses. We can trigger those patterns with precise frequencies and visual stimuli. The display showed a Thylorian brain during normal operation. Then it showed the same brain exposed to certain sound frequencies. The brain activity changed dramatically, showing patterns associated with terror and panic. We can make their soldiers unable to fight, Park continued. Not because they're physically hurt, but because their minds can't handle the fear we create. Yoon studied the display. How many species have you mapped? All 12 council races, Park replied, plus their subspecies and allies. We know exactly how to break their minds. Captain Lee looked at the brain patterns with interest. Dr. Park, what happens when you combine multiple fear triggers? Park's eyes lit up. Complete psychological collapse. They become unable to function. Some species might never recover. Good, Yoon said, because that's exactly what we're going to do. Over the next 20 days, Earth appeared to be preparing for surrender. Humans packed belongings and reported to government centers for relocation processing. Ships arrived to begin moving people to the outer colonies. Everything looked normal to alien observers, but in the shadows, other things were happening. Captain, Lee flew reconnaissance missions to 47 alien installations. His stealth frigate moved through null space like a shark through dark water. He mapped every defense, counted every weapon, identified every weak point. Engineer Choi worked 20-hour days preparing weapons that had never been tested in combat. Psychological warfare devices that could drive entire alien crews insane. Biological weapons designed to target alien immune systems while leaving humans unharmed. Gravity bombs that could tear ships apart from the inside. Agent Beck continued her work in the Council Intelligence Division. She fed false information about human capabilities while gathering data about alien military plans. The aliens trusted her completely. They told her about secret weapons and hidden bases. They asked her advice about managing human populations. She gave them very good advice, all of it designed to make them overconfident and unprepared. Dr. Park finished her psychological warfare weapons. Each one was tuned to specific alien neural patterns. When activated, they would turn proud warriors into terrified animals. The weapons were small devices that could be hidden anywhere. On ships, in buildings, even in the air supply systems. Admiral Kim coordinated everything from his hidden base. Ghost Protocol had grown into the largest secret military operation in human history. Thousands of people who were officially dead or missing. Ships that were never built. Weapons that didn't exist. On day 28, the Galactic Council's purification fleet began moving toward Earth. It was the largest alien military force ever assembled, 500 warships from 12 different species, enough firepower to turn planets into dust. The alien commanders were confident. Humans had shown no significant resistance. Earth's official military was small and outdated. The human government was cooperating with relocation efforts. Everything was proceeding according to plan. Commander Yoon stood in his office and watched the alien fleet approach on his screens. Ambassador Han sat in a chair nearby. Both of them looked calm. "Are you sure this will work?" Han asked. Yoon turned from the screen. "Han, these aliens have been living in peaceful space for thousands of years. They've forgotten what real predators look like. Earth spent millions of years teaching humans how to hunt, how to survive, how to kill anything that threatened us." He walked to his desk and picked up a small device. It looked like an ordinary communication unit. "This will activate every Ghost Protocol asset simultaneously," Yoon said. "When I press this button, 12 alien civilizations will learn why evolution made humans the way we are." Han stood up. "The council chamber is calling all human representatives for a final surrender ceremony. They want to broadcast it across the galaxy." "Perfect," Yoon replied. "Let them gather in one place. Let them celebrate their victory over the primitive humans." He put the device in his pocket. "Tomorrow we show them what happens when you threaten Earth's children," Yoon said. The alien fleet arrived in Earth's solar system on schedule. 500 ships arranged in perfect battle formations. Their commanders sent messages demanding immediate human surrender. They expected quick compliance, instead they got silence. On the hidden asteroids and secret bases scattered through human space, thousands of Ghost Protocol operatives waited for orders. Their weapons were ready. Their ships were fueled. Their minds were focused on one simple goal. The aliens had made a mistake. They had threatened humanity's home. They had killed human civilians. They had treated Earth's children like animals, to be managed. Now they were about to learn that some animals bite back. The Galactic Council chamber was full of celebration. Representatives from 12 alien species sat in their ornate seats, watching screens that showed the purification fleet surrounding Earth. They had done it. The troublesome human species would finally be properly managed. Ambassador Han Mi-young walked into the chamber wearing her formal diplomatic uniform. The aliens nodded politely as she took her designated seat in the back corner. They expected her to formally surrender on behalf of humanity. "The human representative will now acknowledge the wisdom of the Council's decision," announced the Vorthak speaker. Han stood up slowly. She looked around the chamber at all the alien faces. Some showed satisfaction. Others showed boredom. None of them showed concern. "I have a message from Earth," Han said. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small communication device. The alien security guards watched but did not stop her. It looked harmless. Han pressed a button. Far away in Earth's solar system, Commander Yoon received the signal. He smiled and pressed his own button. "Operation Savage Garden is now active," he announced to every Ghost Protocol operative in human space. The first alien base to die was Station Korvac, the Thylorian Military Command Center. It was supposed to be impossible to attack. Shields that could stop entire fleets, weapons that could destroy planets, sensors that could detect ships from across star systems. Captain Lee's stealth frigate emerged from null space directly inside the station's main hangar. The Thylorians had no time to react. One moment, their hangar was empty. The next moment, a human warship was firing at point-blank range into their reactor core. The explosion could be seen from 3 planets away. At the same moment, 46 other alien installations died exactly the same way. Human ships appeared inside their defenses like ghosts materializing from nightmares. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Admiral Kim watched the tactical displays from his hidden command center. Every red dot that represented an alien base was turning black, destroyed, gone. Years of alien military preparation wiped out in minutes. Phase 2, Kim ordered. Engineer Choi activated her psychological warfare weapons. Every alien ship in space suddenly found their communications filled with sounds that triggered primal terror. The proud Thylorian warriors heard the hunting, calls of their species' ancient predators, sounds that evolution had programmed them to fear more than death. On the Thylorian flagship, Commander Thekvor tried to maintain order as his crew began screaming. The bridge crew was huddled on the floor, covering their ears and crying like children. Elite soldiers who had conquered planets were reduced to terrified animals by sounds coming through their own speakers. "Turn off communications," Thekvor ordered. But the sounds were not coming through communications. Dr. Park's weapons were hidden throughout the ship, in air vents behind wall panels inside their own computer systems. The terror followed them everywhere. Similar scenes played out on ships across the alien fleet. The hive-minded Kalari found their mental networks infected with recursive logic loops that made them attack each other. The Zephyrian navigators became lost in space when their directional senses were scrambled by electromagnetic fields tuned to their neural frequencies. In the council chamber, the alien representatives watched their tactical screens with growing horror. Red emergency lights flashed as reports came in from across their territories. "This is impossible," whispered the Vorthak speaker. "Humans don't have this technology." Han smiled. It was the first time she had smiled in the council chamber in 20 years. "We have been studying you for 50 years, she said calmly. "We know exactly how each of your species thinks, how you fight, what you fear. We have been preparing for this day since we first realized what you really thought of us." The screen showed more alien bases exploding. Human ships were appearing everywhere, attacking with surgical precision. But these were not random attacks. Every target was carefully chosen to cause maximum psychological impact. The aliens watched their military command centers die, then their training facilities, then their weapons manufacturing plants. Each explosion was timed perfectly to cause panic and confusion. "How are they doing this?" demanded the Kalari Queen through her speakers. Han pressed another button on her device. Suddenly, the chamber's screens changed. Instead of tactical displays, they showed recordings from the destroyed human colonies: New Busan, Terra Nova, Harmony Station. "You killed our children," Han said. "You called us livestock. You thought we would accept genocide quietly." The recordings showed human families dying in the alien training accidents. Children, elderly, people, civilians who had never hurt anyone. "You forgot something important about Earth," Han continued. "Our planet is not a peaceful place. For millions of years, only the most dangerous species survived there. Humans are what evolution creates when every day is a fight to stay alive." Captain Lee's voice came through the chamber's speakers. He was broadcasting from the captured Thylorian command station. "This is Captain Lee Junwoo of the Earth Defense Force," his voice echoed through the chamber. "We are hereby declaring war on the Galactic Council. You wanted to manage human populations. Now we will manage yours." The alien representatives began talking rapidly among themselves, their languages mixed into a chaos of clicks, whistles, and harmonics. Fear was spreading through the chamber like poison. On their screens, they watched human soldiers boarding alien ships. But these were not normal human soldiers. They had been enhanced with captured alien technology, faster reflexes, stronger bodies, better weapons, and something else that made the aliens freeze in terror. The humans were smiling, human soldiers, who smiled while they fought was something alien psychologists had studied for decades. It meant the humans were enjoying the battle. It meant they were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting because they wanted to hurt their enemies. Admiral Kim opened a communication channel to every alien ship in the fleet. "Attention, Galactic Council forces," his voice came through their speakers. "You have 30 seconds to surrender your ships. Any vessel that does not comply will be destroyed." The alien commanders looked at their tactical displays. Half their fleet was already gone. The other half was being torn apart by weapons they had never seen before. Their crews were paralyzed by fear. Some ships tried to run. Human vessels emerged from null space directly in front of them. The aliens found they could not escape something that could appear anywhere instantly. Some ships tried to fight. Their weapons were powerful, but they could not hit targets that vanished between dimensions. Human ships would appear, fire, and disappear before the aliens could respond. Most ships surrendered. Dr. Park watched the biological weapon deployments from Earth's defense station. Her weapons were specifically designed for each alien species. The Vorthak found their oxygen systems infected with organisms that made them drowsy and confused. The Kalari discovered parasites that disrupted their hive communication. None of the biological weapons were lethal. They were designed to make the aliens helpless. Dr. Park wanted them alive to see what happened next. Commander Yoon opened a direct communication channel to the council chamber. "Attention, Galactic Council." His image appeared on their screens. "You voted 12-0 to genocide humanity. We are returning the favor. But we are more efficient than you are." The chamber fell silent. Every alien representative stared at the human commander, who looked completely calm while announcing their destruction. "The difference is," Yoon continued, "we are not going to pretend this is about population management or efficiency optimization. We are going to be honest about what this is." He leaned forward toward the camera. "This is revenge." The screens around the chamber showed the current status of the alien fleet. Of the 500 ships that had arrived to destroy Earth, fewer than 50 were still operational. The rest were captured, destroyed, or drifting helplessly through space with crews too terrified to function. "You wanted to see what humans are capable of," Yoon said. "You are about to get a comprehensive demonstration." In the chamber, Ambassador Han stood up again. "The voting will now begin," she announced. "All in favor of humanity's terms for your surrender, raise your appendages." The alien representatives looked at each other in confusion. "We have not heard any terms," the Vorthak speaker protested. Han smiled again. "The terms are simple. Complete submission to human authority. You will serve us the same way you expected us to serve you." "This is outrageous," several aliens said at once. "Let me show you something," Han said. She pressed another button. The screens changed to show Earth. But it was not the Earth the aliens expected to see. Instead of a helpless planet, they saw massive defense platforms emerging from what had appeared to be empty space. Weapons that dwarfed anything in the alien fleet powered up and aimed at the remaining council ships. "Did you really think," Han asked quietly, "that a species smart enough to reverse engineer your technology would not be smart enough to hide our true capabilities?" The truth hit the aliens like a physical blow. The humans had never been helpless. They had been pretending. For 50 years they had been studying, learning, and preparing while the aliens believed they were in control. "You played us," whispered the Kalari Queen. "Yes," Han replied, "and now the game is over." 3 days after the first attacks, the remaining alien civilizations held an emergency meeting on the neutral world of Kepler Station. Representatives from species that had been enemies for centuries sat together in desperate alliance. They had never needed each other before. Now they needed each other to survive. The Thelorian war chief Korvax stood at the center of the assembly. His species had lost 60% of their military in the first wave of human attacks. Half of his remaining warriors were still recovering from psychological trauma. "We underestimated them completely," Korvax admitted. "Humans are not the primitive species we believed. They are something much more dangerous." The Vorthak Intelligence Minister Zarak activated a holographic display. It showed the current tactical situation across Council space. Red zones marked areas under human control. The red was spreading like an infection. Human ships are appearing in our most secure locations, Zarak reported. They bypass all our defenses using technology we cannot detect or counter. Our best scientists believe they are moving through some kind of parallel space. Agent Baek Soo-jin sat in the back of the assembly, still pretending to be a loyal council analyst. She had been feeding information to the aliens for years. Now, she was feeding information about the aliens to Earth. The irony amused her. What do our psychological profiles tell us about human behavior? Asked the Kalari Queen through her communication device. Dr. Vorth, the council's chief xenopsychologist, stood up nervously. The profiles were wrong, completely wrong. We studied humans during peacetime and assumed that was their natural state. We never considered what they become during war. The assembly fell quiet. Alien species that had conquered galaxies were learning to fear creatures they had dismissed as barely sentient. Explain, Korvex demanded. Dr. Vorth activated another display. It showed brain scans from human soldiers during combat. Human neural activity during warfare is unlike anything we have seen, he continued. They do not just fight to survive. They fight to destroy their enemies completely. Their brains release chemicals that make them enjoy causing pain to those who threaten them. The display showed human soldiers boarding alien ships. The humans were smiling. They moved with efficiency and purpose, but there was something else. Satisfaction. They were happy to be hunting. They have been holding back, Dr. Vorth said quietly. For 50 years, humans have been pretending to be weak while studying us, learning our weaknesses, planning our destruction. Engineer Choi had been busy since the war began. Her new weapons were works of terrible art. Evolution bombs that accelerated hostile mutations in alien ecosystems. Nanoweapons that turned alien technology against itself. Psychological warfare devices that could drive entire populations insane. But her greatest creation was simpler and more horrible than any advanced weapon. She had learned to weaponize human creativity. On the Vorthak homeworld of Zenthari Prime, the population woke up to find their cities covered in images. Pictures of human children killed in the training accidents at New Busan, Terra Nova, and Harmony Station. The images were projected onto every building, every vehicle, every surface. Under each image were the words, "They were our children. Now we come for yours." The psychological impact was immediate and devastating. Vorthak society was built around protecting their young. Seeing images of dead children everywhere they looked broke something fundamental in their minds. Millions of Vorthak citizens fled their cities in panic. Admiral Kim watched the reports from his command center. The evolution bombs were working perfectly on the Kalari worlds. Harmless organisms were mutating into aggressive predators that attacked Kalari infrastructure. The hive-minded aliens found their own planets turning against them. Status report. On the Thylorian sector? Kim asked. Captain Lee's voice came through the speakers. He was now commanding a fleet of captured alien ships crewed by enhanced human soldiers. Thylorian resistance is collapsing, Lee reported. Their warrior culture cannot handle enemies they cannot see coming. We appear, strike, and vanish before they can respond. It is breaking their spirit. Kim nodded. Spirit was important in warfare. Weapons and technology mattered, but the will to fight mattered more. The aliens were losing their will to resist. What about their final alliance? Kim asked. They are gathering every remaining ship at the Nexus Fortress, Lee replied. It is their most powerful defensive position. They believe they can make a stand there. Kim smiled. The Nexus Fortress was exactly where he wanted the alien fleet to gather. All of their remaining forces in one place. It would make the final battle much more efficient. On Earth, Commander Yoon was preparing for the endgame. The planet that the aliens had planned to depopulate was now the command center for the conquest of their civilizations. Dr. Park entered his office carrying a sealed container. Inside were biological samples from every alien species in the Council. The Q. Final weapons are ready, Park announced. These will target alien immune systems specifically. They will not harm humans at all. Yoon looked at the container. Such a small thing to hold the power to extinct entire species. How long will they take to work? He asked. Hours for some species, days for others. But the effect is irreversible. Once deployed, there is no cure. Yoon picked up the container. The weight of genocide sat easily in his hands. The aliens had planned the same thing for humanity. Now the roles were reversed. Dr. Park, Yoon said slowly, do you think we have become monsters? Park considered the question seriously. The aliens killed our children. They planned to kill 90% of our species. They treated us like animals to be managed. She paused. If stopping them makes us monsters, then evolution made us the right kind of monsters for this job. The final Alliance fleet gathered at Nexus Fortress as expected. 300 ships from 8 remaining alien species. It was everything they had left. Their last hope for survival. The fortress itself was a marvel of alien engineering. Shields that could deflect asteroid impacts, weapons that could crack moons in half, defensive systems that had never been breached in 1,000 years of warfare. Commander Thekvor of the Thylorian fleet stood on the fortress bridge looking at tactical displays. The human fleet was approaching. Only 40 ships. The aliens outnumbered, them almost 8 to 1. Finally, Thekvor said, a battle we can win. The human ships moved into attack formation just outside the fortress weapon range. They looked small compared to the massive alien vessels. Primitive compared to Council. Technology. Admiral Kim opened a communication channel to the alien fortress. Attention, Final Alliance. His voice echoed through the fortress corridors. You have one opportunity to surrender unconditionally. This offer expires in 60 seconds. The alien commanders looked at each other in disbelief. 40 human ships were demanding the surrender of 300 alien vessels defended by the most powerful fortress in the galaxy. Humans, Thekvor replied. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now and we will grant you quick deaths. Kim's laughter came through the speakers. You still do not understand what you are fighting. The 60 seconds expired. Engineer Choi activated her masterpiece. Every alien ship in the Final Alliance fleet suddenly found their own computer systems turning against them. The humans had been infiltrating alien technology for decades. Now every piece of Council equipment became a weapon aimed at its users. Life. Support systems began producing toxic gases. Navigation computers sent ships crashing into each other. Weapons systems turned on their own vessels. The alien fleet began destroying itself from within. But that was not the worst part. The fortress shields that had protected the aliens for 1,000 years suddenly became a prison. The same technology that kept enemies out now kept the aliens in. They were trapped inside their own fortress while their ships died around them. Captain Lee led the human boarding parties. Enhanced soldiers who moved through the fortress like shadows. They did not just capture strategic positions. They hunted. Room by room, corridor by corridor, they systematically eliminated alien resistance. The aliens fought back desperately. But their weapons were designed for ship-to-ship combat, not close-quarters fighting. The humans had trained for this kind of warfare their entire species' history. On the fortress bridge, Commander Thekvor watched his fleet die. 300 ships reduced to burning wreckage in less than an hour. The mighty Final Alliance destroyed not by superior firepower, but by an enemy that understood war better than they ever had. How? Thekvor asked when Captain Lee appeared. On his bridge. Lee looked at the broken alien commander with something that might have been pity. Your species learned warfare from textbooks, Lee said. Humans learned it from surviving on a planet where everything wanted to kill us. We are not better at war because we are smarter. We are better at war because we are meaner. The last alien resistance ended when Dr. Park's biological weapons were deployed throughout the fortress. Within hours, every alien on board was dead. Not from violence, but from diseases specifically engineered to target their biology while leaving humans completely unharmed. The Final Alliance was finished. 8 alien civilizations, reduced to scattered refugees hiding in the outer systems. Commander Yoon received the final reports from his office on Earth. Every alien military installation destroyed. The Galactic Council chamber had been rebuilt. The same room where 12 alien species had voted to genocide humanity now served a different purpose. The ornate alien seats were gone, replaced by simple human furniture. The complex alien technology was replaced with human systems. Ambassador Han Mi-young, now titled Supreme Commander of Conquered Territories, sat at the center of what had once been the council floor. Around her stood human administrators who governed former alien worlds. Behind them were the surviving alien leaders, no longer representatives but prisoners waiting for judgment. The ceremony was being broadcast across the galaxy. Every world, every station, every ship would witness the final moment when the old order died and the new order began. Commander Yoon stood at a podium facing the assembled aliens. These were the leaders of species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Now they sat in chains, waiting to learn their fate from creatures they had once called livestock. 3 months ago, Yoon began, you voted unanimously to exterminate humanity. Today, humanity votes on your future. The surviving alien leaders sat in complete silence. The proud Thylorian war chiefs who had conquered solar systems stared at the floor like defeated children. The brilliant Vorthak scientists who had unraveled the secrets of the universe could not meet human eyes. The hive-minded Kalari queens, who had commanded billions, were isolated and alone. Dr. Park entered the chamber carrying her final report. The psychological effects of the war had been more devastating than any physical weapon. Entire alien civilizations were suffering from collective trauma. Species that had never known fear were now afraid of shadows. The biological integration is complete, Park announced. All alien populations have been exposed to human-designed organisms. They are now dependent on human-produced medicines for survival. Without our continued cooperation, they will die within months. It was elegant and terrible. The humans had not just conquered the aliens militarily, they had made them biologically dependent. The same species that had planned to manage human breeding were now reliant on human science to stay alive. Engineer Choi stood at a control station, monitoring the galaxy-wide communication network. Every alien world was connected to human-controlled systems. No alien could communicate without human permission. No alien ship could travel without human approval. All alien technology has been integrated with human control systems, Choi reported. They cannot build weapons, cannot develop new technology, cannot even maintain their basic infrastructure without our assistance. Admiral Kim appeared on screen, from his flagship orbiting the former Thylorian homeworld. Behind him, the planet's surface showed the evidence of total human control. Human cities were being built over the ruins of alien capitals. Military integration is complete, Kim announced. Former alien military personnel are being retrained as labor units. Their warrior traditions are being systematically eliminated. Within 1 generation, they will not remember how to fight. Captain Lee stepped forward carrying a data pad with population statistics. Current alien demographics, he reported. Total alien population reduced from 47 billion to 12 billion. Remaining populations have been relocated to designated work zones. Birth rates are being monitored and controlled. The numbers were staggering. 3/4 of the galaxy's alien population had died during the war or its aftermath. Not all from direct violence. Many from diseases, starvation, and despair when their civilizations collapsed. Agent Bayek, no longer hiding her identity, presented intelligence reports. Psychological assessment of alien populations shows complete submission, she said. Resistance movements have been eliminated. The concept of opposing human authority has been psychologically conditioned out of most alien cultures. Commander Yoon looked at the alien leaders sitting before him. These had been the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Now they waited like pets for humans to decide their fate. Do any of you wish to speak? Yoon asked. The silence stretched for long minutes. Finally, the former Vorthak speaker Zarak raised his head. Why? Zarak whispered. Why did you not simply destroy us completely? Yoon smiled. It was not a kind expression. Because extinction would be merciful, Yoon replied. We want you to live. We want you to remember every day what happened when you threatened Earth's children. We want your species to pass down stories about the terrible mistake you made. He walked closer to the alien leaders. Every alien child will grow up knowing that their ancestors were stupid enough to declare war on humanity. They will live their entire lives serving the species their grandparents tried to exterminate. The truth of it hit the aliens like a physical blow. The humans were not going to kill them. They were going to keep them alive as living reminders of their failure. Supreme Commander Han stood up and walked to the center of the chamber. The new galactic order is now in effect, she announced to the cameras broadcasting across space. All alien species will serve humanity in whatever capacity we deem appropriate. Your worlds, your resources, your very lives belong to Earth now. She looked directly at the alien leaders. You called us livestock. You planned to manage our population. You killed our children and expected us to accept it quietly. Her voice remained calm and professional. Now you understand what real management looks like. Dr. Park activated a holographic display showing the current state of alien worlds. Former garden paradises were now industrial centers serving human expansion. Beautiful alien cities had been converted to factories and processing plants. The galaxy that had once been ruled by 12 proud species was now one vast human empire. The psychological conditioning will continue, Park announced. Within 2 generations, alien species will be incapable of conceiving resistance to human authority. It will be bred out of them just as we breed undesirable traits out of livestock. The comparison was deliberate and cruel. The aliens had used the same language about humans. Now they were learning what it felt like to be on the receiving end. Engineer, Choi presented the final technical report. Human expansion fleets are ready for deployment, she said. We have identified 17 habitable systems beyond former council space. Colonization will begin immediately. Humanity was not content with conquering the known galaxy. They were expanding beyond it, carrying their dominance to new worlds and new species they might encounter. Admiral Kim's voice came through the speakers. All human military units report complete readiness. Any species we encounter will be given the same choice we gave the Council: submit or be destroyed. The message was clear. The galaxy had seen what happened when aliens underestimated humanity. Any new species would face the same fate if they made the same mistake. Captain Lee stepped forward with the final document. The Human Colonial Charter is now in effect, he announced. All sentient species in the galaxy are classified as either human citizens or human subjects. Citizens have rights and freedoms. Subjects have duties and obligations. Every alien in the galaxy was now a subject. Their rights, their freedoms, their very existence depended entirely on human generosity. Commander Yoon returned to the podium for his closing statement. The chamber was completely silent. The alien leaders sat motionless, broken by the complete destruction of everything they had built over millennia. Let this be recorded in the histories of every species, Yoon said. On this day, the age of alien dominance ended forever. Earth's children now rule the galaxy. He looked directly into the cameras that were broadcasting to every world. We tried to be peaceful. We tried to coexist. You chose to see us as animals to be managed. Now you understand what kind of animals evolution created on Earth. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, billions of aliens absorbed the reality of their new existence. The species that had built star-spanning civilizations were now servants to creatures they had dismissed as primitive. In the quiet after the ceremony, Supreme Commander Han reviewed reports from human governors across alien space. The transition was proceeding smoothly. Alien populations were adapting to their new status. Resistance was minimal and quickly suppressed. Any regrets? She asked Commander Yoon. Yoon looked out the chamber windows at the stars. Somewhere out there, human children were growing up on worlds that had once belonged to aliens. They would never know a galaxy where humans were considered inferior. No regrets, Yoon replied. They made their choice when they voted to exterminate us. We simply showed them what happens when you threaten a species that evolution designed to be the perfect predators. Agent Bayek was preparing to leave for her new assignment governing the former Kalari territories. Before departing, she submitted her final intelligence assessment. The alien civilizations are completely broken, she reported. They no longer think of themselves as independent species. They think of themselves as human property. The psychological transformation is complete. Dr. Park was already working on her next project, biological modifications that would make future alien generations more suitable for human purposes, stronger for labor, more compliant for management, less capable of independent thought. Engineer Choi was designing the ships that would carry human expansion beyond the known galaxy. When they encountered new alien species, those aliens would face the same choice the Council had faced: submit immediately, be destroyed complete.